The big factoring method we'll be using is called factor by grouping. The requirements for us to do factor by grouping is we need 4 terms. Terms are separated by either addition or subtraction signs. And typically what we'll do is we'll group the first 2 and then we'll group the second 2. Sometimes there's some instances where we might have to rearrange. That's fairly uncommon though. So in this one, we're going to group the 2x squared plus 4x, and they have 2 and an x in common. So when I factor that out, I'm left with x plus 2. The 5x and the 10, they have a 5 in common, so we factor the 5 out, and we have left x plus 2. So if you ever had Professor Skinner for Math 05, 04, 06, or maybe the AIM course, this is what she called the hallelujah moment. Because hallelujah, we have x plus 2 in common, and that's our GCF. So we have a GCF of x plus 2, and we'll go ahead and factor that x plus 2 out. And then what's left is the 2x and, oops, so something happened here. So what we have left is, we'll have to fill this in, is the 2x and the 5. Okay? And that's it for that one. If you want to check, you can FOIL that all out and see if you get back to the original up here. Alright, let's take a look at another one. We're going to take a look at x squared plus 5x plus 6x plus 30. We'll group the first 2. So the first 2 looks like all they have in common is an x. We factor an x out. What's left is an x plus 5. We'll go ahead and group the second 2. They look like they have a 6 in common, so when I factor 6 out, I have an x and a plus 5 left over. And here we are with our hallelujah moment. We have x plus 5s in common, so we will factor the x plus 5s out. And what we have left is an x and a 6. So what we had left is an x and a 6. Again, if I want to check that, I can go ahead and FOIL. And I'll get back to the original here. Okay, so let's do something a little more exciting. 4x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 25. We're going to group the first 2. First 2, the 4 and the 10 have a 2 in common, and then we have x squared and x, and they have an x in common. So we factor out a 2x. What's left is a 2x plus 5. The second 2, the 10 and the 25, have 5 in common, so we factor a 5 out. What's left is a 2x plus 5. And there's our hallelujah moment. Hallelujah, we have 2x plus 5 and 2x plus 5, so we factor that out. And what is left is a 2x plus 5. So you see we have a 2x plus 5. Now notice that these are the same. There's 2 of them. So we are efficient. We are going to write it as 1. 2x plus 5 to the second power. And later we'll call that a perfect squared trinomial, and it has its own special factoring formula, which is a nice shortcut. We like shortcuts. Okay, let's try one more. And we're going to take a look at 8x squared plus 12xy minus 10xy minus 15y squared. We're going to group the first 2. So we'll look at 8 and 12. GCF there is 4. They do have 1x in common. Okay, and then 4 times 2 is 8. X times x is x squared. Plus 4 times 3 is 12. And then we just need a y. Okay. Now when I have a minus sign right there, I'm always going to factor a minus sign out there. That's just something that we'll need to do in order for this to work. So we're going to factor a minus sign out. And we practice some in class factoring the minus sign out. We're going to factor out a minus, and then we're going to look at the 10 and the 15. They have a 5 in common, and then they also have a y in common. So we're going to factor out a minus 5y. What will be left will be a 2x plus 3y, and we're in good shape. We have a GCF of 2x plus 3y. We're going to go ahead and factor that out. And our leftovers will be 4x and a minus 5y. And there is our factor by grouping. And later we'll get into a diamond method for creating 4 terms, because we'll be factoring trinomials, and trinomials don't have 4 terms. So we're going to use this diamond, or sometimes it's called an AC method, to split this middle linear term into 2 pieces, and it's pretty fun.